times of need when you want. Yeah. Yesterday, I have explained to you that a single server is used by an enterprise to record the transactions across the globe. And when we record the transactions of different companies in different countries into the same single server, then how we will be able to retrieve the data per company or per location or per department. Like that, you will have to get that. So that is why Oracle also has given us a clear structure. Whenever we are inputting the data, system will tie the transaction to which locator, which sub-inventory, which inventory organization, which business unit, which legal entity, and in which ledger it is posted. Like that, it is segregated. So for this is the structure in the software. But in the application also, we should have the similar thing, how they are capturing, how we can prepare the financial statements for different companies from the same server. That we will see. Before that, I would like to explain to you some of the terminologies here. Access. The difference between the previous versions and the difference between the new one, latest one we have created. We have created like that, we can say. I will comparative analysis of the release 12. Architecture-wise, comparative analysis or comparison between release 12 EBS. You need to understand it a bit so that it will be easier for you when you go into the application also, you can talk about it. Release 12 and also and the fusion applications. We'll just compare one by one with regard to structure, how it is there. Now in this release 12, we'll put it first because it came first, right? So we'll give it a priority that how it was there, release 12. E-business, how it was structured, and in the fusion, how it is there now. So now in this, on the top organization here we had was the business group. On the top, we had the business group. In this business group. So what it was doing is that we can create multiple business group. We can have multiple business group, multiple BGs in one instance. In one instance, we can have multiple business group, one instance. That is how the release 12 works. EBS, it works like this. So it can have multiple business groups for this. On the top, it is the business group. HR is also created here. HR structures for each business group we can define. HR was associated here with the business group. So we can have multiple business groups in one instance. That means suppose you have created the one in application, Oracle application, total software is installed into your server. So there you will create the business group as the top organization. That with the business group, we used to have the HRM was associated with this. That means all the rules and regulations and all the flex fields associated with the HR was defined at each business group level. You can have 10 business group. In India, you may have HR laws or HR rules or your HR patterns may be different. In America, the HR policies may be different. So that's why the system in the previous systems, in the previous versions of the application, they allowed it to have different business groups. And each business group can have its own associated HR policies. Everything was associated with the business group. So that's why they allowed it to have multiple business groups. Then under the business group, we have the same way ledgers were there. Ledgers were there. Similarly, as we have now, one enterprise can follow multiple ledgers. There also, one business group can follow multiple ledgers, and we can create multiple ledgers. We can create multiple ledgers. It was allowed there. Same way, under the business, under the ledgers, we have legal entity. So that legal entity was there, same structure, no change in it. Under the legal entity, there we used to call them as operating units. Now we call them as a business units. There we used to call it as an operating units.
We have a multiple ledger. Don't we make this one primary ledger?
No. Ledgers means that the all primary ledgers only I'm talking about now. Secondary ledger and also your reporting ledger, they are different. We'll come to that later.
Okay, got it.
So
Thank
primary ledgers only we can create multiple number of primary ledgers.
you. Okay.
And one primary ledger can be connected to multiple reporting ledgers, right? And primary ledger, one primary ledger can have the multiple secondary ledgers. That is a different concept. When we come to each primary ledger, then we will deal with one primary ledger can be associated with how many secondary ledgers. One primary ledger can be associated with how many reporting ledgers, and how to have the consolidated ledger for multiple primary ledgers, that how we can consolidate the data into one consolidated ledger. That part we'll see later.
But now, here for one business group, multiple ledgers, what is the advantage?
That's what, no? A ledger constitutes, what is a ledger? A ledger will have 4 constituents. That is calendar, chart of accounts, currency, and also your subledger accounting system, right?
Yes.
So when you have these, one business group may have different chart of accounts. You may say that when I said that business group can have each country, right? That's why you're confused, I think. I told you multiple business groups were allowed in the ABS. So within the business group, suppose we have for HR policies of entire India, we have created India as a business group. You have created US business group. You have created UK business group. Fine. So then you are asking me a question that why should we have, right, multiple ledgers under the same business group? Is it not?
Yes.
If I understood you rightly.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So now this business group is there. Now it is there. India business group is there. India business group. This is called HR policies are same for all over this entire India. This is only one business group is created. So under this business group, you have two different companies. They all can follow the same ledger. This one has one ledger, right? So this ledger has got one created India primary ledger. So here India primary ledger, they have created the business group, India primary ledger. This India primary ledger is created with assume that there is a chart of accounts here for this one Indian rupees, INR is the currency, definitely. Then you have got the chart of accounts structure number 1, right? Chart of accounts means list of accounts. Then you have got the calendar, fiscal calendar, right? Our calendar is fiscal calendar. And you have the subledger accounting method is same all over India for every reporting systems and everything are correct. Subledger accounting method only one. Fiscal calendar, chart of accounts, one is following. So these are the 4 combinations for this India primary ledger which you are creating this. That means chart of accounts. Chart of accounts is also important. Now, this chart of accounts is same for you here, Tata Motors, or you can say Tata Chemicals. They have chemicals, is a company, and you have another company called here, Tisco, Tata Iron and Steel Company, Tisco. They have the similar chart of account. They have the same chart of accounts. This is a company and this is also a company. So they are following the same INR, same chart of accounts 1, and fiscal calendar and subledger accounting is the same. These two companies can follow the same ledger. These two companies can follow the same ledger because one ledger is being followed means all the 4 C's must be the same. So this company has the same 4 C's and this company also has got the chart of accounts in the same way they want to have. They have it. Now they have another company here, another company called Tata Motors. You know that for the Tata Motors, whenever a car manufacturing company, spare parts, more than a lakh of spare parts are there in a car. What we see the car, the spare parts are more than a lakh, 100,000 spare parts will be there in all. If we count each of them, we do not know them, but we have implemented one company, Toklan Tus in Iran. So there I wondered to see that more than 100,000 spare parts are there items. When we have created items, more than 100,000 items were there separately. So like this, Tata Motors want to have different chart of accounts because they have got different way of analyzing items, inventory items. So they are following a different chart of accounts. Minute details also they want to have in the chart of accounts. Minute details also they want to have in the chart of accounts. So this one has chart of accounts too. So now we can have here India primary ledger 2 also we can create. So here we can create India primary ledger 2.
Can we say that the line of business is different, so we can have a different ledgers?
No, line of business is different. Here also you see chemicals is line of business.
Right.
Here also steel also
Okay.
is a different business, right?
Okay. Okay.
Line of business is different. That's why we have created them two different companies.
Okay.
It not necessarily be. When there is a line of business, then you don't need to create another legal entity. The same legal entity can have multiple lines of business. That is called operating unit. When we say this is operating unit, it can be a line of business can be different.
Okay.
Line of business can be different, but under the same legal entity. It can have so many things. So like this, suppose you start a company tomorrow, a software company, you start it. See, in the software company, what you can do a software development. That is one line of business. Is it not?
Yes.
Software development is one of your line of business. You can also start another line of business called outsourcing the employees, staffing. You train the people and you will deploy the people to the companies so that you will run your payroll and you will get the compensation from the companies. Your employees are outsourced to the different companies. That is a totally different line of business, right?
Correct.
So like this only, you can have line of business in a operating unit in the previous versions and in the business unit nowadays. Or you can have a different company also. Here we are talking not the question of another company may have a different chart of accounts by its basic needs to serve its needs.
Got it. Got it.
I will give you an example here. The chart of accounts means what is that? Chart of account structure is nothing but list of accounts.
Yes. Yes.
Nothing but the list of accounts that you maintain for your ledger. List of
maybe you have different departments and different
that is also different. Different departments also different. Yes, the chart of account structure can be different. They may need another segment. When you say structure, nothing but list of accounts and also the structure of the accounts. Chart of account structure we call it, right?
Yes.
This company by its motor, they would like to have 7 segments. Whereas this chart of account structure has got only 5 segments or 6 segments. So that is what a different structure means. Definitely it is a different chart of accounts. Different chart of accounts. That's one. Here, chart of accounts is nothing but list of accounts. So this company may need a different way. They may maintain different way. Suppose now spare parts are there or maintenance charges or the charges, outsourcing charges, anything, charges account. They may book into different accounts. Spare parts one, outsourcing one, painting one, coloring one, all these accounts will be there. Right? When a vehicle is done, windows are manufactured somewhere and your tires are manufactured somewhere and your brakes are manufactured somewhere and somebody will fit it Some jobs you may outsource it, right? So these kind of things may not be here in chemicals. Those type of accounts are not required here. So there you may have the contractor, subcontractor may be one of the segments. Subcontractor values also may be there, one of the segments like that. So whenever something like this account list changes or the chart of account structure segments increases, that is a different chart of accounts. So when these people have got Tata Motors have got different chart of accounts, any one of the constituent changes that it is a different ledger. So here
Ledger.
also you have got INR. This is same. Then chart of account structure is 2 here. Fiscal same. And you have got the subledger accounting method is same subledger accounting method. So there is no difference in 3 constituents. But one of the constituents is changing here, right? So
Yes.
any one of the 4 C's, 4 constituents changes. So then it is called a different ledger. Then different ledger. So in this case, though it is group is in India, one business group is there, one group can have multiple ledgers here.
Okay.
One group can have multiple ledgers. For entire Europe, you can have multiple ledgers you can create, though the same similar things are there. If you go to the Europe, around 27 countries are there working as European Union with common currency and with common economic policies, all the countries. You may have, we can create only one ledger for if you have 20 companies in 20 countries of the European Union, then you can have only one ledger because they are following the same currency, euro currency, in all the 20 currencies where you are operating in the European Union. And their calendar is also same, calendar type of calendar that starts on 1st January and ends on the 31st December of the same year. Calendar type is same, currency is same. Assume that their chart of accounts also is same. Subledger accounting method also, everybody is following accrual method of accounting. There is no difference even in that. But in spite of that, you can create one business group, right, for the entire thing because their employment policies in the entire Europe also is same. But still, it is always advisable to create one ledger per country. Per country means there may be certain reporting challenges, certain things may be different. Accounting systems may be different. Same accounting systems may be different for all the 20 countries, but the reporting structure may differ somewhere. So that in that case, it is always better to have the different ledger for each country. One ledger for each country is a must. So like that, one group can be there, one group can have multiple whenever there is some change. Even if there is no change, I told, in the second case, though it is only one business group you are creating for the entire Europe, because HR policies are same, everything is same. So in that case, chart of accounts also may be the same, but still, because the country is different, it is advisable for you to have a different ledger for different countries. Each ledger should have a different ledger. That's what is a best practice. Though system allows, software allows that to have the one ledger for the entire all the 20 countries, 20 legal entities operations can be carried on in the ledger. How do you do that? Suppose you give the chart of accounts here. Like that, you can create a chart of accounts. In the chart of accounts, you give one of the segments for the company. Format cells. So that's how you can record. Recording the transactions is not a difficult thing. One system allows us. System allows us to have record the companies. All the 20 companies can be, their transactions can be recorded in this chart of accounts using the chart of account structure by creating one segment value for the company. Here you are giving one of the segment structure as company. So all the 20 companies from 01 to, right, 02 to 0, 30, 20, all the 20 companies can be recorded in the same ledger. Because you have the same structure here, you are given one segment for the company, all can be accommodated. But it is not advisable, better to have one ledger for each company, right? System supports, as you have seen here, system supports you to record the 20 companies' transactions in the entire Europe can be given in one ledger, can be accommodated. This is how the system segregates the information while posting it, and we can retrieve the reports also like this. Are you okay now?
Because we need to map only one balancing segment for one company, right? So,
Yeah, one company, one balancing segment only. No,
yeah,
no.
that is the reason. Yes.
Sorry. One
No, that
company.
is the reason you should be best practices. You should have multiple ledgers. That's what.
No. Sorry to correct you here.
Okay.
One company can have multiple balancing segments.
Okay.
One company can have multiple balancing segments. Suppose this is the balancing. What do you mean by balancing segment?
It's a company, like, no, what is the organization specific, right?
No. What is meant by a balancing segment? Why do we call it as a balancing segment?
So one segment should be made as a company, right? In the
No,
major
that is true.
organization.
No, that
Yeah.
is true. I agree. We talk more about it when we go for the chart of accounts creation.
I know. Okay, that's fine.
Right?
Go ahead.
But basically, no. It's a question. It's a good point that you have raised. It is a good point that when you raise points like this only, we can have discussion. When we have discussion only, we'll have more clarity on the subject. I welcome it always. I don't avoid questions. I encourage you to ask me questions so that what all I know, I will explain to you immediately. If not, I will get clarification and then clarify to you next class. I'm very open for that. I appreciate it also. I also enjoy when you ask me a question. So now your question is that this balancing segment is nothing but the system balances the journal entry at this level. A debit and credit should be equal at a balancing segment level. That's what the meaning of the balancing segment. Whenever you create a journal entry in the system, right, the debit and credit both should go to a balancing segment value. You want to ensure that the debit and credit of the journal entry goes to the same balancing segment value. So this is your company. So this one company can have multiple operating units, like 110 can be your operating unit. So you can have the 120 operating unit because first company, first business unit, operating unit, second. Like this, you can have with one series up to 19 you can have, right? So second company also can have 210 operating unit and 220 and 230. We are giving numbers here also keeping in view of the organization. First company, so that you can easily identify if the operating unit is under the company because operating unit works under a company, right? So for this company, we have two business units. You can easily identify. Whenever you select the value 2, that means you are putting this value to the second company. Like that, you can understand. While designing the chart of account structure, I can explain to you all these things in more detail. So 20, right? 201. Because you have here 20, so it is better to give the 201 like this. Here instead of 110, 101. See now it is changed. Why? Because we have 20 companies. So this pattern should be easily understandable. So now I'm changing it to 102. This is 201, 202. This changed because this is third one is there. If you put 210, it will clash with the two company. Hope you understood. 203. So like this, it will come into the operation. Different companies can have the different operating units that are associated with this, one. So numbering patterns, we'll see that. Suppose you want to ensure each business, line of business, as you said, we have got line of business. Each business unit have got different lines of business. If you want to ensure that each line of business entries should tally within that business unit itself. So in that case, you can give this also as a balancing segment. And these two balancing segments will be mapped to one company, if you want to follow that. Or there is another concept called primary balancing segment and secondary balancing segment. Primary balancing segment, and we can use another concept also called, this way also you can follow, and secondary balancing segment. The primary balancing segment can be company segment you can give, and the second balancing segment you can give the business unit can be given as a secondary balancing segment. This is another approach. So we'll talk about more approaches when we go for the chart of account structure creation. Then I will explain to you in detail all the concepts that we can apply in each case. So now under the operating units, you have got the inventory organizations. These also we know that any number of inventory organization will be created. Then you have the sub inventories. Then you have the locators as well. So this is the structure I have explained to you yesterday. Right? This was there in the previous version, and I explained to you the same way here. Same way here I have explained to you. But now, in the current Fusion version, the structure is a bit slightly different. Now we come to the Fusion. The Fusion application we have here on the top, we have given as the enterprise. On the top, we said we have got the enterprise. There is no doubt about it. So under the enterprise, we also have the divisions like enterprise one of the concepts they brought it as the beginning of the divisions. This is only for the reporting purpose. It has nothing to do with the anything structure here. Any operational effect is not there because of this. This is almost redundant now for now. They may use it later date for some purpose. They may use it. Then below that, so we have got the legislative data system group. Legislative data group per country. This legislative data group takes care of the HR policies. Here, we have created the business group, right? The business group is to take the HR policies here. Here also, HR is associated with the business group, enterprise. HR is no doubt associated with enterprise. But their structures, here we used to define even the structures also, business group level. But here in the legislative data group, we create HR structures. HR policies like that. What is the payroll? How you run the payroll? So like that, this. So this is not exactly like a business group. This is not exactly business group, but similar to business group. This is not exactly like a business group, like a BG, but similar to it. Similar to it. So in the structure, this is also not, this is separately defined. The organization structure, this is not tied to the legislative data group. So then EVO starts. All other things will start here. Ledgers, legal entity, all other things will work like this. In that way it will work. All other things are. These two are now, for now, we are not using divisions. Divisions is only for reporting purposes. That we can achieve differently also. Reporting purposes. So this division reporting purposes, we also can achieve in the R12 also we can achieve it by going for the parent and child relationship of the segment values we give. That I will tell you when we go for parent and child relationship. I will show you in R12 in the e-business suite how we used to define on the parent and child relations. Even now we have the parent and child relationship of the accounts. When we create the values in the value sets for the ledger or for the segments, there we can have the parent and child relationship. Through reporting also we can get it. So physically we don't need to have any divisions. We don't associate divisions. Because why I say this is not necessary is when you create a legal entity, you will assign it to a ledger. That means you will tell to the system, if I record my transactions for this legal entity, they are to be recorded in a particular ledger. You will link it up. When you say here, the business unit, sorry, this is not operating unit here. This is called business unit. So whenever you are creating a business unit, you are linking it to the legal entity. So that means under which legal entity this business unit is working. So then when you come to the lower level, when you create an inventory organization, you will specify there in the system to which business unit this belongs. Because every inventory organization has to necessarily be associated with an business unit only. It works under the business unit. What all the material you store in this inventory are belonging to this business unit, and they will reflect in the financial statements of this legal entity. So that's what the hierarchy is. So you're establishing link from here. When you create the ledger, what all the legal entities are following this, you will associate. So this legal entity is associated with the ledger, and this business unit is associated with the legal entity. Inventory is associated with the business unit. Sub-inventory is associated with the inventory. But whereas in this case, division, we are not associating any ledger with the division. We are not associating any legal entity with the division also. That is an independent one. That's why I said this is for more reporting purposes. More reporting purposes, we can have how many divisions we have. So that for now, it has not been used fully in the fusion. In future, of course, they may bring out some functionality for that organization, what we create, the structure part we create like that. So this legislative data group is important, no doubt. This is not unnecessary. This is also necessary. When we create an employee, so that a company must be following a law of the country. Which country's law it's following, we need to specify. When you create a legal entity, the legal entity should have the HR policies. That means which company's policy, which country's policies you are following, or within the same country, if we have different HR policies, so you need to define that. That is called, it is legislative data group. Which legislation this legal entity is following. That's what you define that. So that is also there. This is not exactly the business group level, business group like, but there we have got structures and policies are same. Here it is there, only structures are here, enterprise level, and policies are here separately defined in this. That we will see when we go to the legislative data group. So this is how the mapping of this is. And with regard to security also, what is the difference between the security like this? Difference between with regard to security. That means how to create the user, how to assign the responsibilities and other things. Difference between EBS and fusion with regard to security. That means user responsibility like that is there. Sorry, it went off. Between EBS, fusion, in respect of security. In respect of security. Here in the EBS, here we create users. Then we create responsibilities. And responsibilities are associated or assigned to the user. Responsibilities are assigned to the user. So here in this responsibility, when we say we create a user, this is common. Then we create the responsibilities. Then we associate the responsibilities to the user. So that means through the responsibility, you are getting the access to the system. Whenever you have this, when through the responsibility only, you are getting access to the system. here in this case. So here responsibility, what we mean here is you are giving the access to 3 areas. A responsibility here, this is data group, responsibilities, data menu, access to the forms, menu, data group, and request group. Request group. These 3 things are associated with the responsibility. So whenever you say that you are giving menu, data group, and request group, so that is coming the combination of the responsibilities here. So with the responsibilities, you will assign that, right? So like this, you will create the access to the user. So here we have got user, right? These all activities are performed by the system administrator. All these activities are performed by the system administrator. There is a responsibility called system administrator. Controls all this. System administrator responsibility is there. He will control all these activities. So here also we create the user. Then there are predefined roles. We assign the predefined roles are predefined. Here responsibilities are customized. Their roles also can be customized. So we assign the roles. We assign the roles. Then we provide access, data access to the users for a context. Data access for the users. Again, you give the data access. Specifically, you have to give the access. Access means you have got multiple ledgers. If one user using only one ledger, then you will have to do that. So here it will be given as there is a called a role called security console. IT security manager will have a privilege called security console. Using that security console, then he will be able to create the users. He will be able to assign the roles, and he will give you'll be able to give the data access. Of course, data access can be given by anybody, but here these 2 things will be done by the IT security console must be there. We need to use security console. That is the term introduced here in the Fusion here. This data access for the users can be given by any the setup one. Anyone who has access to setup can give it. Who has access to the application can give it, can give the users. Data access can be given by the security console. So this is how it works. There is a users. As we go through that tomorrow class, we'll create a user. We'll create how to assign him the roles and also how to give the data access set for him. Because you may have multiple ledgers, right? We have multiple ledgers. We can have, right? We can have in the system, we can have multiple ledgers. Multiple business units, right? So like this, which organization, which business unit the user has to work. So specifically, we have to give access to that particular business one. So like this also, ledger also, if you want to use, a user has to use, though he has been assigned the roles, right? Suppose we have got for the general ledger, you have got general accounting manager. General accountant. And also financial analyst. And also you may have chief financial officer. These are some of the roles. Then you have got controller. Like these roles are there. These roles you will assign to the user. Suppose that user one. User one is there. User one. He has been assigned with these roles. With these roles. So now, by using these roles, which ledger I can use it? I can use only access to the ledger one. You are assigning the context also. Security context value is ledger one. You will assign the ledger to him. Which ledger you will assign is only one ledger. If he has to work, if the same user has to work in multiple ledgers, then you will have to create again access to this to him. This is what called the data access. For all these roles, you will have to select. So you do not create, I add the roles again. You have already added the roles. Roles are existing with him, users. For these roles, you can assign him the another ledger called ledger 2. So like this, you will give him the data access. Then only when you give him access, again for the second ledger also, he will not be able to use, though he has got the same role here. General accounting manager is there, only this one. These roles are not assigned multiple times. Only access is given multiple times. Roles are not assigned multiple times. Roles are not assigned multiple times. We give only access. We give only the access to different ledgers for different roles. For the roles. Roles are created only once, but you role. Whenever you give the access, you select this role. Yes, general ledger accounting manager, select it. And this role can also work for this ledger. This role for this user can also work this ledger. So like this, repeat. This and this, or you will select it, and you will select a different one here. Because these are all already assigned to the user. So for this user, for this role, this ledger is one set. And for this user, for the same roles, another set of ledger, another ledger. So that is how the access is given. So then only he will be able to post it into that. Setup can be done by anybody once he has got the role called setup manager. That is the slight difference between these two. And also, because I'm explaining this because some of our friends are there, they have got the background from the EBS. So they need to understand the shift between the EBS and the Fusion, what the changes that Oracle has made from EBS to the Fusion.
Is it called as a rollback access like in EBS we used to?
Yeah, here also, here also,
Same answer.
yeah,
Same
role
answer.
based. There also you are giving the role based access only, because role based access means there we have got the menu is there. So that menu used to that menu leads you to the form, right? Menu, you can have the menu. A menu can have submenus. A submenu can have multiple tasks. So the task will lead you to the form where you can record the transactions. Function, sorry, it is in the e-business, it is called function. Menu have menu, a menu will have submenus. A submenu is a combination of submenus and also the not task, function, sorry, submenu and also some functions. Function will lead us to the form there in the EBS. There the function now call it as a task here. Task.
Okay.
Role also will have certain task lists. You can also customize the roles. What role he can perform, whether he should have access to certain functionality or not. So like that, you will remove the task list. Here we call them as a menu, but here we call them as tasks and task lists. So task will lead us to the go to task means we are going to the form. Here, go to here. So that function will lead us to the form. Here in this e-business unit, function leads us to the form, to the page or form there. Here, task will lead us. Go to task will lead us to the form. Task will lead us to the form. So that is the difference between here. So we have there menu, submenus, and tasks, and also functions. So now here we have got the role is there. Instead of responsibility, we are calling it as a role. So that role will have the task list and also the tasks. Task list is nothing but menu there. So task list can have the submenus like submenus like tasks, certain tasks to be performed. So task will lead you to the form to record the transactions or to search for the transactions. See, the background process is same, one and same. Ultimately, the reach the same functionality is following here. There is not many changes, but slightly structural changes they have made. So which will not affect more, but the process are same because it's after all it is in accounting, right? Ultimately, they have to prepare financials. They have to follow certain standards, international accounting standards. So everything they follow it there. Look and feel will change something, then it will not be much difficult. If somebody has an EBS background, it is not so difficult for them to understand it. Yeah. Any questions from any other friend? Yeah. Any other questions, please? Mr. Hemant, Mahesh?
Nothing from my side.
Yeah.
No
Renu,
problem.
Mr. Srinivas?
I have lately joined, so I
Yeah.
don't know all these topics.
Okay.
Again, I have to discuss.
Tomorrow, if you are attending the class, if you come early, I can explain to you all from the beginning what all I have explained to them. I can make use of the time for you and I will explain to you everything.
Sure, sir.
Or when the regular classes start, I do not mind repeating everything once again for the benefit of the newly joined students.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing will be missed out to anybody because you joined late. It does not mean that you will miss something. You will get everything.
Okay.
Any doubts or any concepts you want to know? Clarifications? Yes, please.
Can we listen to the recording once again and just ask the questions in the next class, if you don't mind?
Yes. You can talk to Mr. Tirupati. Do you have his number or his contacts number?
Yeah. He reached out yesterday. Yes.
Yes. You can definitely have it. There is no problem with that. The
Okay.
same thing, you can listen to it leisurely when you have time. Then afterwards, you can note down the questions, anything. Tomorrow's morning class, you can ask me all the questions about the presentation I have given so far.
Sure. Because it's
Yeah, just-
entirely for
yeah,
me, so
true
it's
that.
taking
Yes.
time to process it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we close it or you have any other questions? I have time, no problem. I can answer to your questions.
I'm good.
Okay. Everybody is good? Fine. So we'll meet again tomorrow at the same time. You can come out with some classes with our any queries or something you can ask me tomorrow's class. Okay. Take care, my friends. Bye for today. Tomorrow we'll see.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah, bye.